कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन. Ma karma phalahetu mate sangutsva karmane. You have the right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of it. So never think of yourself to be the cause of your actions and their fruits, and not be attached to the inaction. Namaste, I'm Nandini Patil, and I feel honored to share this space with you people today. Today we are going to learn and explore about the key teachings of Bhagavad Gita, where it can guide us to lead our life with courage and clarity. In the heart of Mahabharata, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, a divine conversation unfolded between Prince Arjun and Lord Shri Krishna. This sacred dialogue, known as Bhagavad Gita, has since become a timeless guide for humanity. In just 700 verses, it speaks to the human conditions like doubt, fear, clarity, love, and liberation. Bhagavad Gita is Sanatan, which means it is eternal and applies to every living organism in the world. Gita should not be read as a book, but as a path led by Sri Krishna. At the start of Gita, Arjuna is overwhelmed. He is paralyzed by his conflicts, confusions, and fear. He doesn't know if he should fight or not. He questions the right and wrong, life and death, action and inaction. Doesn't this sound familiar? Every day we face our own Kurukshetra, our own battlefield, where it may be a career decision, family responsibilities, etc. We stand like Arjun, lost and uncertain. And this is where Lord Shri Krishna steps in. Not just as a divine charioteer, but as a guide, a friend, and a philosopher. Karma Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. When you see about that, one teachings from Bhagavad Gita is Dharma, which says about the person's duty. Do your prescribed duty, for action is better than inaction, says Krishna in 3rd chapter, where he urges Arjuna to do the war. He motivates him to do the war, not just to back out from his duty, because it was his duty to do the war since he was a Kshatriya. In our lives, this translates to understand our own roles like parents, students, sisters, brothers. We have to carry out them with selflessness and full of love. The Gita emphasizes Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action. You have the right to work but not to its fruits, he says. This profound idea teaches us not to obsess over the outcomes. We have to do our duties with dedication, integrity, and focus. And he will give us the result. In a result-driven world, this text is liberating. It helps us reduce anxiety and encourage us to do our duties without any doubts and fear. When we detach from the outcomes, we find ourselves be satisfied with the process of it. Jnana Yoga is the path of knowledge, understanding the truth of oneself and the God. Just as a person casts off the worn clothes and puts on new ones, the soul discards the body and takes the new one. The Gita teaches us that we are not just the body and ego, but we are the Atman, the eternal soul beyond birth and death. Realizing this brings inner peace and fearlessness. This helps us live more consciously and fearlessly and without being attached to the materialistic world. Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. He says, just offer me a flower or a leaf or a fruit or even water with devotion, I will accept it. Through devotion, we develop humility, gratitude, and a deep connection with the divine. Bhakti is just not a blind faith. It is a relationship between the divine and the individual based on trust and love. This path brings emotional strength and resilience, mainly in difficult times. Krishna even talks about some of the leadership qualities, such as Sthita Prajna, where Sthita Prajna means a person with steady wisdom, the one who is not distributed in between happiness and sorrow and be steady in both the times becomes eligible for the liberation. Gita offers the model of ideal leadership. Whatever a great person does, the world follows. Whatever the standards they set, the world pursues, says Krishna. True leadership is about service, responsibility, and inner control. Krishna advises that a wise leader acts with humility, not with the ego. This teaching is powerful for modern leaders in business, governance. Krishna also speaks about Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of meditation. A disciplined mind becomes one's ally in finding peace, joy, and inner strength. In today's noisy world, the Gita's meditation practices are needed more than ever. Gita helps us to face death not with fear but with understanding. For the soul, there is neither birth or death, it is eternal. This spiritual insight removes fear of mortality in one's life. This allows us to live more freely, more fully. In chapter 11, Krishna reveals the Vishvarupa, the cosmic form, to Arjuna, saying that all living beings, time, and events are part of the divine. He says, I am the time, the destroyer of world. This is a call to set that life is not as fragmented but as interconnected. Every person, every moment is sacred. When we live with this vision, our actions become more compassionate, humble, and wise. The Gita is not just a book to be worshipped from far afar, but it is a manual for daily living. When we face confusion, it gives us clarity. When we are anxious, it teaches detachment. When we are lost, it reminds us of our inner strength. When we feel powerless, it tells us to act. We are all like Arjuna standing at a crossroad and seeking guidance. The divine voice of Shri Krishna is not far, but it is within us. To live the Gita is to awaken that voice. The voice of courage, wisdom, and compassion. Rise yourself by yourself. Do not degrade yourself. The self alone is the friend and enemy to the self. The Gita doesn't just change how we think, it transforms how we live. Let Gita be the chariot of your journey. In the midst of the modern world, Bhagavad Gita can be your guide. Listen to its songs, walk its path, and discover the peace and power that lies within.
Give thanks to God, for He is good. His love endures forever.